want to share right here so that wait a bit here so that we have a conversation. Chat right here. Ready?
You know?
We shall do it here so conversation chat. Right here. Let me see your background. Oh, shit, down here. Let me see your background before you. Let me see what you pick up. The chair.
All right, so
Let me hear them over there so looking nice. I just want to see. We're going live already. Oh shit, sorry. I can't go to the bathroom. What do you can't go to the bathroom?
yes, so what we're going to do tonight is a live broadcast of, and we are going to look at the results. Who will win the general election? That's where we're going to go with this live tonight. Okay. So we have looked at all the polling, and I've seen all the comments. Yes. Okay, just sorting some things out here. Yeah, I've seen all the comments. But one thing we must understand is that polling is a snapshot in time. Give me a second here. I'm still trying to sort out something. So, guys, you can share the live. This is Cover Story Live, and this is our first live broadcast. But we decided to do the live tonight, so we can see some of the chatter first, and we should be able to respond, and we should have a very good dialogue back and forth as we look at the constituencies and that we have covered and the polling that we have done. And tonight we are going to, from our vantage point, we are going to determine who will win the election. And of course, that's, I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this because I've seen it in the chatter. I'm very cognizant of some of the things I saw in the chatter, in the comment section. People tend to think that I am pro one side and no doubt against the other side. But we can only assess things. And whereas everybody might have their own personal views, which it's a democratic country, so we're all entitled to our personal views. And not everybody is going to support the same thing. But even in doing so, we have to be as objective as we can. And this is where I come down very heavy on objectivity. So yes, during the polling analysis of the different constituencies, we'd have seen where most of the results favored the PNP. And then I see the chat and say, oh, this guy is orange, his blood is orange, and so on. I can only go by what the polling suggests. And like I said, polling is a snapshot in time. So yes, whereas it gives an indication of what is happening on the ground, it is still important to note that polls doesn't win election. And let me make that clarification at the very outset. so that everyone can understand clearly that polling is just a gauge as to where the electorate is at a particular point in time. And what we saw when our team was on the ground and we were making the different phone calls to poll the constituencies, we would have seen a strong momentum from what we have picked up towards the People's National Party. And we can't deny something that you're seeing on the ground. I am not saying that I have not seen a level of enthusiasm with the Jamaica Labour Party supporters. Yes, we're clearly seeing that level of enthusiasm. But I'll tell you something. When you look at 2020 election, we did not see that kind of vibrancy, that kind of support that we are now seeing out there. And it was reflected in the local government election. Just think about it. And yes, people will say, and I'm expecting those, share the live, guys. Tell them cover stories live. And we are going to look at who will win the election in this live. So just share the live for me as best as you can. And share the live. Just share the live. Yes. Okay. So yes, it is always good to reflect on the objective conditions that we are seeing. Right? Fix this video. Okay. I'm seeing something here. Okay. Everyone. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yes. So we would have done these polls. And what we gleaned from the polls is what we reported. We'd have done our research and we'd have put the numbers out there. And like I said, it's a snapshot of where the persons that we poll were at that particular time. It does not mean that views cannot change over time. It doesn't mean that people cannot think differently tomorrow morning when they turn up at the polling booth to vote. But there is clearly an enthusiasm on the ground for the PNP. And we have seen it before. And you know what somebody said to me recently? They say, look, when PNP is united, they're hard to beat. And it's true. And we would have seen it over the partisan years. Right? Even when Pattison was not as popular as he started out, we'd have seen where he would have won elections. Right? And one of the reasons for that is that the PNP have a bigger base support. And polls after polls after polls have shown that the PNP have a bigger base support out there. So the issue is not whether the Jamaica Labour Party is running a good campaign or not. The issue is whether the PNP supporters are motivated to vote. We would have seen in 2020 that they were not motivated to vote. But now we are seeing a situation where they seem to be you can see that cohesiveness where these supporters are concerned. You just have to look at the rallies. You have to look at the public meetings, the large crowd, and the enthusiasm that has been generated. It makes you think that they are on a path to something that we would have never seen before. So yes, tonight we're going to look at who we think will win the election. And for the next hour or so, you can share the live. Share the live, folks. Share the live. This is Cover Story Live, and this is our first live. And we decided to do the live because we want to look at the the comments and respond to the comments as we go along. Yes, and Suntrack Promotions, PNP all the way. Well, I have no doubt that the PNP at this point has the edge. And I know my liberal friends might, might crucify me for saying this. But it is true. The PNP is going into this election with a slight edge, right? And that is something that we have to reckon with. Because when, like I said, when PNP supporters are motivated, they are hard to beat, right? It's and forgive me for saying this, and some people might, come at me for saying this. But you know what I have noticed, and because I remember nomination day, I was out there nomination day, observing the nomination, and what I saw was, and even something I heard, because I have a close friend who is a big laborite, I should say. And his position was that he wasn't even going out there to support a well-known candidate in Spanish Town that he knows. And the candidate is going to win anyway because she controls her place. In fact, she wants to be referred to as Muma. She says she's a Muma of Spanish, of St. Catherine Central. And you guys know who I'm talking. And he's a supporter of that lady. And he's telling me that you're not going to vote for her. And I said, why you're not going to vote for her? He says because he went to the PNP rally in halfway tree and she gave somebody the money to share to them. This is what he's telling me now, I'm just reporting what he's telling me. And she gave somebody the money to share with them for turning up at the rally. And the person didn't share the money equally. So he's upset. So I said, oh, so you guys have to get money to go to support the party? And they say, yes, that's how it has always been. Babs has always been, making sure that they have money. So I said, oh, okay. I didn't know that that's how you guys roll. You have to pay supporters to go out there and support their party. So yes, it's happening out there. Some persons turn up at these political events because they are getting paid to go on these bandwagons and to go out there in these crowds. So let's face it. It is so. It's a reality, and we can't change it. The PNP, on the other hand, their support is much different. Their supporters are into what they do. They are a part of what they do. Whether you pay them or you don't pay them, they are comrades. And they are going out to support their party. And they are going out to work for their party. I'm not saying some of them don't grumble, because I've heard a lot of them grumble about pay also. But even when they grumble, you see, the scenario is that when they grumble, they're still going out there to work for their party. And that's the difference. And this is why I will say, before I go into the seats that the PNP will win, right? And who will decide the election, I will say that the PNP supporters are more energized to vote out the Jamaica Labour Party. And this is where the danger lies for the Jamaica Labour Party. Because voting patterns in Jamaica, and for all of us who are old enough to know, they don't vote in governments, they vote them out. It's either they are not satisfied with the cost of living, it's either they are not satisfied with the crime situation, it's either that they think that the party is not doing enough for the poor person, or the poor man, so to speak. So they say, you know what, we're going to try something else. Yes, Joel Green, I see you. Hi. Angela Williams, you're there also. Yeah, you're the one PNP. So you plan to vote tomorrow, Angela. I would imagine you plan to vote. Yes. So you see, it's going to be okay. Karen Campbell, good night. Thanks for joining the live. Share it with your friends. We are going to be on for some time and you're going to hear some interesting news. Yes, because we are going to tell you how much seats the PNP will win and how much the Jamaica Labour Party will win and who will form the next government of Jamaica for the next 5 years. Yes, I know. PNP people motivated. There he is. Looking. Yeah. Hi. Good night, Janet Grant. I see you too. Karen Canberra. Always. Oh, thank you for listening to my coverage, Karen. You know, I try to be as balanced as I can, but I can't hide the reality that the PNP has the momentum, right? And I know the Labourites out there will knock me for this, but it is what it is. I always say it is what it is. I'm not saying because one thing I hear somebody in the chatter, some of my Labourite friends in the chatter will say that, boy, after tomorrow, your credibility is damaged. No, my credibility won't be damaged. You know why? Because polling is a snapshot in time. And I'll say this. Yes, I understand, Frederick. You still my friend, Mr. Aiken. You make sure your party win tomorrow. That's why you must make sure. Yes, no, I'm not saying that, Carl C. I'm not saying that both sides are not motivated, right? But what I'm saying is that the PNP seemed more motivated to me. And let's face it, the fact that they have a bigger base support, right? They are dangerous, right? And you have to consider that. The fact that the PNP has always carried more support than the Jamaica Labour Party. It's traditional. It has not changed. Yes, I know there is the advent of the young people coming on the voters list and all that. But you know what? Most of them don't vote. Most of these young people don't vote. You think they're going to leave a party down the road to go vote? Or they're going to wake up out of their bed and see it as an obligation to vote? But when you look at the PNP support out there, you see the old Michael Manley crowd coming out. You see the old ladies. You see the middle-aged ladies. Yes. Oh, somebody preempting me. Roy Thomas, I see you. You're preempting me. Oh, you know my number. We'll get to that, though. Yes, Roy. Okay. Yes. So you see, so it's an issue. Well, I don't know about the 50, Eric. I don't know about the 50. But I'm expecting some surprises, I can tell you that. Right? There will be some surprises. Right? So when we look at the numbers, and as we have looked at, and we are looking now at PNP wins. That's what we are looking at. So let's start with Central Kingston. That's an old Ralph Brown seat. And all of those who know Ralph Brown know that he was one of the stalwarts of the PNP, Minister of Local Government back in his time, and never lose that seat. Right? We see that the PNP had lost the seat. But we have seen during the local government election, Orville Clark, big up. Amazing ground game, for sure. Yes. Carl, yes. Oh, yes, the minimum wage. And yeah, it's a good thing, Carl, see that you raise that point. I think I heard a noted political commentator last night on the TV saying that it will have some effect to the outcome of the election. You see, what I'll say to you is that what I saw there was pandering. Andrew Holness was pandering to that set of Jamaicans who we feel. I know that they vote. You know that domestic helpers and persons who earn minimum wage, they are reliable voters. So he figured that he could pander to them by increasing the minimum wage and, by 100%. But, somebody called me yesterday, and I must share this with you, Carl C. Somebody called me yesterday, a person who is an employer of 10 persons. Has a business, a small business, and employ 10 persons. And they say, you know what, man? People are going to lose their job. No, Manly was East Kingston and Port Royal. Manly was out west, not Central Kingston. Uh, I think Paulwell got Manly's seat. But yeah, the lady called me and she says, look, a lot of people are going to lose their job because we cannot afford. I have 10 staff and I'm paying them 16,000 a week. And then for me now to pay another 16,000 to each of them, it's going to be a big burden on my small business. So I'll have to lay off at least 5 of them and have the 5 that I have do the work that the others used to do. So you see, it will have devastating effect, even for the workers themselves, because some of them will lose their job, as in the case of this person who spoke to me last night. Right? Good? Right. Yes, as in the case of this person who spoke to me last night. So we have to be careful as to how we navigate that situation. And even though he's pondering to a certain set of voters that he thinks is they're reliable voters, it can backfire in a lot of ways. Because what he does is set up those persons, some of them to lose their jobs. Yes, that's what he does. Right? He set up those persons to lose their job. And that can be very, very serious. I don't see at this stage, Carl. Yeah, that's from the employer perspective. But from the worker's perspective, I don't see at this stage where it's going to have any big effect on the election. You know? In terms of deciding the outcome, I don't see it doing it. Right? Yeah, well, before you went over, yes, Delroy, before you went over to East Kingston and Port Royal, but Ralph Brown added also. You know, if you remember Ralph Brown, right? Now in 72, yeah, and 1980, but he went over to East Kingston and Port Royal afterward. Yeah. Yeah, but Ralph Brown added also, if you recall. Yeah, but yes, he had it in before he went over to East Kingston and Port Royal. But I think Ralph Brown was a dominant person there because he held on to that seat for quite a while. Quite a while. Yeah. Yes, it's not going to have the big effect that that most people think it have. It's too late. I agree with you. It's too late to have that big effect. And people would have made up their minds. Most people would have made up their minds. And I think that the effect that, and this is why, this is why I say it's pondering, because he came at a time when he realized that there was, the margin was in favor of the PNP. Because don't think that the Labour Party don't do their internal polling, Listen to the Prime Minister the other night when he was out there in Spanish Town, at the roundabout there. Oh, this big crowd, this is him selling, using psychology, and that psychology. This big crowd is even bigger than halfway tree. It looked like halfway tree and and put together. Right? That was basic psychology, playing on the minds of the voters. Good? And whether we like it or not, just like Mark Golding was able to pull out his birth certificate, which I think was a brilliant moment in a debate. He planned that one for him, put pull out his birth certificate and show it to him. Why didn't he convince the Jamaican people and pull out his certification? He could have done that also. Instead of looking straight in the camera and telling everybody that he has been certified. No. He's not. He has not been certified. It's still hanging. Why is it in the court then? Why was it referred to the financial FID? Right? It's because it's still not certified. They want to know where a certain amount of money that they saw moving around in the bank accounts. They want to know where that come from. And it has not been properly ventilated to the oversight body. So yes, I would think that he would have show some proof also that his thing has been certified. Just merely telling the supporters that, telling the people that were watching the debate that he's certified and all of that. And I think, and you know what? And I'm going to put myself out there and say this. And I think this is a level of arrogance I see about Andrew Holness that I really don't like. And I understand some people love him and some people will cheer for him and there will be cheerleaders and Kool-Aid drinkers and what have you. But I do not like that level of arrogance that I see coming from the Prime Minister of Jamaica. The Prime Minister of Jamaica is supposed to be a humble person and understanding his role as a servant of the people. And don't come out and try to I don't like that kind of politicking that he practices. I really don't like it because I've never seen it. It reminds me of the politics that Trump practiced in America, and I don't like it. I don't like that kind of politics, where you play on people's ignorance, where you play and you understand that you have some supporters who might not be well informed. In a lot of respects, he's condescending. In a lot of respects, he's condescending. And this is what he does. And then he has this attitude where, yes, and it feed right into the being condescending, where he thinks he's brighter than everybody else. So he comes to a function and he tries to lecture everybody, because he's such a great, or he thinks he's such a great orator. That's one thing I detest about the Prime Minister, I must say. Mark Golding, I have not seen him function yet. And but I see a level of sincerity in Mark Golding that I admire. And I really think that Mark Golding means this country well. Put aside what people might think that, he did not get a Jamaican passport early enough. I don't see that as a detriment. I don't see that as, because let's face it, regardless of whether we think, that because he didn't get a Jamaican passport early enough or not, that it has some bearing on his loyalty to the country. Mark Golding has lived, he born here and he has lived here all his life. God bless Michael Manley. That was a great man. A great man. I benefited from policies that Michael Manley put in place. Free education. I wasn't able to go to college if it wasn't for Michael Manley. So I still... Yes, indeed. Yeah, Ralph defeated Babsy Grange, in 1989, and he held that seat until he retired. Thank you so much. And that's what I'm saying, that the impact in that seat is really Ralph Brown, because Manley didn't stay there long enough. Ralph Brown created the impact in Central Kingston. So the issue is, in Central Kingston, the PNP will win that seat. The PNP will reclaim that seat. And I have no doubt that the PNP will reclaim that seat, because the comrades in there are motivated. And I think the former senior policeman there, who's representing the PNP, He has some good programs. He has put some good programs in place. So he definitely has something going for him, right? And I think that the PNP will reclaim that seat. It's an old PNP seat, let's face it. Let's face it, it is an old PNP seat, right? The Labour Party won it by accident. Oh, yeah, with the base energized PNP will win back all it. PNP will definitely win back all the traditional seats because the base is energized. And like I said, I have watched the meetings because I'm in a position a lot of people might not understand, and I don't give away my what I do. But what I have seen when I've watched these meetings is that the PNP base, that old Mike and Manley base, and what I call in politics, the intergenerational loyalty. I'm seeing that coming out. Born in a PNP home, you grew up in a PNP home because mother and father will tell you what Manley do for them. Mother and father will tell you what Ralph Brown, when he was mayor of Kingston, what he did for the people there. Mother and father will tell you, say you could approach him anytime. Right? So that intergenerational loyalty. Yeah, the center northeast seat there is one that I am a little skeptical about, you know. And as much as like I said, there might be some surprises. Yeah, I'm a little skeptical about the center northeast seat there. NYC. I, I think that we have to. You see, St. Anne is one of the areas where the the PNP has always some surprises. Some surprises always there, and we can expect some. We can expect some in this election. I was just checking something here. Yeah. No, listen. We know the tradition of that seat, that Northeast St. Anne seat, you know. But no, I soon come to Northeast Manchester. But we know the tradition of the Northeast St. Anne seat, yes. And here what happened now with that seat. I think Shiny Robinson had done something that nobody else would have done. And it was her personality that changed the complexion of that seat. What I have seen is that Matthew Samuda would have portrayed on the ground, because I watched him on the ground, he would have portrayed some resemblance of the Shiny Robinson's politics. And the people, they love Robinson. They loved it. When she was their MP before that, God bless her soul also, they loved what they were seeing. The extent to which Matthew Samuda can replicate that is yet to be seen. But it's interesting. But the seat that we have to watch also, even though I am skeptical about it, is up there where Danishka is running against Maine, Xavier Maine. You know, because when you go on the ground in St. Anne, the people call Xavier Maine Mr. St. Anne. So that gives a reflection of the kind of popularity that he swings around there. So we still have to watch that effect also. As much as Danishka is putting up a very vibrant campaign, a very good, she's running a good campaign, a very disciplined campaign. But because of Xavier Maine being Xavier Maine, it might be a challenge this time around. You know, so we have to look at that. But Northeast Manchester. Oh boy, that's the one that we're having some serious problem with. And I think it has to do with candidate. Wint I don't think that Wint was the best person for that seat. And that's just my opinion. I don't think he was the best person for it. Right. Remember, Winter's been around the block. He's no new kid on the block. He has been around and he has not really impressed the voters, so to speak. But what will happen is that if there is a swing, a marginal swing to the PNP, that will carry him through. Just like the seat down there in St. Elizabeth, right, where Norman Scott is running, right? Norman is running down there in southeast St. Elizabeth. That is another seat that. Oh, you think he's MIA? No, but Dwayne, I tell you something. Check it. They respect him in St. Anne. I'm telling you that. On the ground in St. Anne, Maine is a respected figure. Right? So we still have to watch that. But yes, Central Kingston, the PNP will take Central Kingston. Certainly will take Central Kingston. And that's one. We start off with that one. Good. In East Kingston and Port Royal, that's sure. We're gonna get that. I see ya. How are you? Yes, any swing at all, not even big swing. Not even big swing. Any swing at all, the marginal seats will definitely fall in the PNP's column. So we have Central Kingston, we have East Kingston and Port Royal, that's two. We have St. Andrew West Rural. Tell me what you think in the chat about St. Andrew West Rural. I give it to the PNP. Even though our polling show that it is swinging PNP, but I really think St. Andrew West Rural is a PNP seat. The PNP is going to take that seat. Let me hear in the chat what you think. Right? St. Andrew West Rural. Tell me what you think. I see it as a PNP seat. Mm-hmm. And it has a history there. It has a history. Right? It has a history. St. Andrew West Rural has a history. I think that the PNP will safely take the seat, this constituency. And then we look at St. Andrew East Central. St. Andrew East Central. Let me just pull up something here. St. Andrew East Central. I'm looking at some stats. Just give me a second there. Yeah, I really, looking at the stats for West Rural, the PNP did well in the local government election. And for some reason, I don't think that Cuthbert will cut it this time around. And then she's up against a real campaign juggernaut. Right? Hilton is all right. Hilton is safe. Hilton will be safe where he is. Right? Hilton will be safe. Mm. Yeah, West Rural. Yeah, West Rural. Southwest St. Elizabeth. All right. So, yes, so we have West Rural. That's three. We have St. Andrew Western. Let me just give you them and then we'll go into them. We have St. Andrew Western, another PNP win. St. Andrew East Central, another PNP win. St. Andrew South East, another PNP win. St. Andrew East Rural, another PNP win. We're going to take the 2 seats in St. Thomas. Don't let nobody fool you. Don't let nobody fool you. The PNP is going to take the 2 seats in St. Thomas. Right? That guy there up there that run his mouth all the time, and he has absolutely no credibility. He's going to lose his seat this time around. And you guys know who I'm talking. In Portland, the 2 seats in Portland, I tell you something, we might see a surprise swing there. As it is right now in our polling, the Rastaman seem to be favored to beat the wife of Vaz. But Vaz is also having some trouble in his constituency. In fact, in our polling, he's not even outside of the margin of error. Right? So we have to, yes, so East Portland, the Rastaman is leading up there, and the lady most definitely will, that seat will return to the PNP, East Portland. And I tell you something, West Portland better watch himself. St. Mary, so that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 2 St. Thomas seat would make 9 so far. East Portland 10. St. Mary South 11. St. Mary Central also a PNP seat. Right? That's 12. Then we St. Elizabeth Southwest. PNP is going to pick that up. St. Elizabeth Southeast. Norman Scott will take that seat because the PNP will win. And the tradition of that seat is whichever party forms the government, they usually win that seat. And right now they are polling very close. Witter and Norman Scott, Frank Witter and Norman Scott is polling very close. So the PNP win the election, Scotty also win. In Manchester Central, it's a PNP win. Manchester Northwest, a PNP win. Manchester Southern, a PNP win. Clarendon Northwest, a PNP win. Clarendon Northern, a PNP win. Clarendon Southwest, a PNP win. St. Catherine Northwest, PNP win. St. Catherine Northwest, PNP win. St. Catherine Southern, which is Fitzjackson over there. That's a PNP win. We retain that. St. Catherine Southeast, which is Dr. Dawes. That's a PNP win. And of course, Raymond Price going to win in East Central. So you will have in St. Catherine, the PNP will pick up Northwest, the PNP will pick up Southern, the PNP will pick up St. Catherine Southeast, the PNP will win St. Catherine North Central, the PNP will win St. Catherine Eastern, which is Denise Daly, and the PNP will win East Central. Raymond Price is going to upset Orlando Terry Long. Yes, and I know what I'm smoking. for my friend there. Manchester Central, the PNP pick it up, like I said before. Um, Westmoreland Western, so PNP pick up. Westmoreland Central, PNP getting that seat. Westmoreland Eastern, St. Elizabeth, the PNP getting that seat. The two seats in Hanover, the PNP getting those. In Trelawny South, where Mr. Patmore is going to beat Dalrymple. Hear the dynamics with that seat now. Just pause for a moment to look at that seat. Patmore won that seat as an independent candidate one time. And he was able to defeat the deputy mayor of Falmouth at the time, a guy named Steve Warren. That is, you see, Patmore is going to consolidate his voting in the Larimer's area where he's strong, right? And I know that the boundary cut would have give the JLP an advantage, especially coming up to the Ulster Spring area there, because remember they cut off some of Clarkstown. When I look at the boundary cut, at some of Clarkstown, you have a place on the name Top Town that was cut off, and that's a Labourite stronghold, and it was thrust over to there. But Patmore will be able to neutralize some of that, some of that support coming from that area because of the person he is. Patmore is a good campaigner. He's a good on-the-ground campaigner. And I think there's a thing in politics known as incumbency fatigue. Dalrymple, Philibert, has nothing to offer to the people again. Absolutely nothing. So the people the people up there realize that they have a new person, right? Who, yes, and let's face it, if we see that seat call early for Patmore, it's over for the JLP. Right. Dalrymple is really, yeah, I agree with the person in the chat who says she looks lame. Her incumbency fatigue, her time is up now. It's time she go home. In fact, she had resigned and they bring her back. And I'll tell you something. I met Floyd Green at a function that I attended just at the time when they brought her back. And I was joking with him. I say, Floyd, you guys really bring back Dalrymple Philibert, man. After all of that, the lady resigned. The lady realized that she made some blunder with the Integrity Commission, and she resigned, right? And Floyd Green's position was that, yes, we have to bring her back because she's the only one at this point that can win the seat. So you see, it's all about expediency for them. And this is why they go down to Westmoreland there and bring back, a certain figure that we would have seen in social media using a chair, allegedly to assault a woman. So her time is up, and Patmore is going to deliver that victory for the PNP. In the north, they are hungry to take back that seat for the PNP. They are hungry. So Wickham McNeil is going to win that seat. Tova would have been Tova would have been should have lost her gravitas, so to speak, with the Labourites there. Yeah, we're talking about George, right? Yes. Right? So that is an issue. Yes, over there. So when we look at the seats here, we see on my count, the PNP will win the election with 40 seats, and there is some seats that we have to watch. Yeah, original Desmond Leakey seat right there in North Trelawny. You know what? North Trelawny has an history. North Trelawny, there was this guy named Wakeland who was a Labourite, and he had that seat for a while too, And I think it was Desmond Leakey who defeated him and turned that seat around during the days of Michael Manley, right? And and a lot of people have known. Yes, Dalrymple time is up. Yes, 40. 40 there. And yes, the PNP will win 40 seats by my count. And the Jamaica Labour Party will win 23 seats. So the PNP will form the next government. Right? So I says Kingston Central, East Kingston and Port Royal, St. Andrew West Rural, St. Andrew Western, St. Andrew East Central, St. Andrew South East, St. Andrew East Rural, St. Thomas Western, St. Thomas Eastern, Portland East, St. Mary South, St. Mary Central, St. Mary Western. Then in St. Anne, we have St. Anne Southeast, right? That we will call that one St. Anne Southeast. The other St. Anne seat, like I says, we can look out for some prizes depending on where the swing and what percentage of swing we see tomorrow. But yes, St. Anne Southeast, we have that one. Trelawny South, the PNP have that too. Trelawny North. Then we go to St. James East Central. Yes, PNP is going to pick up that seat. St. James West Central, which is where Dr. Horton is working, is going to defeat Malawi Fort this time around, even though she have a propensity to buy votes at the last minute, right? But she was aided by COVID that time around. I don't think COVID would help her this time. And yeah, she has been on the ground down there, doing some work, fixing some roads and all of that. She has been doing all of that. But it demands more than just fixing roads, at the time when you know that an election is near. Because Jamaican people are not stupid, And this is what some of these politicians think we are stupid. They come to us during a voting time and they beg us for a vote. You can't find a more humble you can't find these politicians more humble when it's close to voting time. And after the voting is done, they turn off their phones. And that is an issue with the Labour Party. That's an issue with them. And I say it without apology. It's an issue with the Labour Party. St. James East Central, PNP picked that up. St. James West Central, PNP getting that. St. James Southern, where Nikisha Burchell is up against that, the Homar Davis. Yes, she's going to take back that seat. And everybody will know that's an old PNP seat. Yes, delusional as you might say. You might get delusional tomorrow when you see the swing. AJF. Yeah. Right? You will get delusional tomorrow when you see that swing. So, yes. St. James Southern, West Central, and St. James Southern. Then we go to Hanover Eastern, PNP picked that up. Hanover Western, PNP picked that up. Westmoreland Western, the PNP picked that one up. Westmoreland Central, the PNP picked that up. Westmoreland Eastern, PNP also. St. Elizabeth Northwest, PNP. Right? St. Elizabeth Southwest, PNP. St. Elizabeth, yes, you better believe Floyd Green is going to lose. Yes, Floyd is going to lose. St. Elizabeth Southeast. Well, as we say, Norman Scott is polling neck and neck with Witter right now. But Scott is going to win that seat because the PNP is going to win the election with 40 seats. So Scott is going to come through because that seat Miranda is going to win. She's going to beat him. You see, people have to understand the dynamics of politics, and this is something where a lot of Labour Party supporters don't understand the dynamics of politics. Jamaica is still a PNP country, whether we like it or not. We can talk and we can say anything we want to say. It is still a PNP country. And when PNP people are motivated, they are hard to beat. And you will see that tomorrow. Right? Northeast St. Best. Let me see. What we have here. Oh man, Northeast St. Best with Zaluka. Yeah, she's gonna take that. She's gonna win. Yes, Bartlett, because he lost he's always lost in Somerton, because Somerton is really a PNP area. But I think he was on the ground. After our polling, he went on the ground. In fact, he texted me. Bartlett texted me after the polling, and he said to me that it's it's a joke, because they don't even take his content as seriously down there. So I say, well, we will see. She's campaigning. And the fact of the matter is that you know that you are, I said to him, I said, Mr. Bartlett, you know that you haven't fixed some roads down there. For a long time, these roads are bad, you know. And I have family down there, and I was told that a certain road in Dumfries that has never been fixed for so many years now, they recently fixed it. So you see, these people can do better. Well, 45. Yeah, and it is possible because, like I said, there are some seats that we're going to see some surprise. Springmount will determine the outcome of East Central. Undoubtedly. Dwayne Smith. Yes. Janice Allen. Yeah, but you're what? No. You see, Janice Allen, we think that she's going to beat Eroy. And the reason why we think she's going to beat Eroy is because she has a better ground game and she has a better campaign message. Right? She knows what she wants for the tourism capital. And nobody has articulated that kind of precise and concise view as to how a tourism capital should be. She wants to transform Montego Bay as it is and make the city look good as the tourist capital, something that nobody has ever think about. I'm not saying that some of these rural towns don't deserve to be looked at. But the places in Jamaica where the money, and well, if we PNP 14 and 49. So you really think, and somebody say I'm delusional, but anybody who think that the JLP will hold on, not even Matthew Samuda think that, because I had a discussion with him the other day, that the JLP will hold the 49 seat that they have now. They are delusional. It won't happen. It will not happen. Listen to me. The PNP is going to win back all the seats that they lost in 2020. Right? The PNP is going to win back all the seats that they lost in 2020. So anybody talking about delusional, anybody think that the JLP is going to hold on to those 49 seats, they are delusional. Right? Andrew Holness is, you're more, that person who think that war is more optimistic than Andrew Holness, because Andrew Holness right now is fretting. Believe you me, he is. Dwayne Smith. St. Andrew Northwestern, that's where Dwayne Smith is. It's the JLP Dwayne Smith. St. Andrew Northwestern. He's going to win. He's going to win. Dwayne Smith is going to win. You see, you have to understand that constituency. His father made that constituency because you see, and it is so sad that people really consider, because I'll tell you this, I used to teach, when I left college, I used to teach at Kingston Senior, it was at the time, right in the heart of his father's constituency. As somebody asked me about doing, I just take time to talk about it. And I didn't do much for the era. All I could see, I remember one time we were in class, because we used to have a special constable who used to guard the school. His name was, they call him Django. He used to drive a Mach 1 and wear his vest and his gun under his arm. And they had to use him to guard the school. Right? So this is what we used to experience right there. I saw, boy, a boy come to school with a firearm during my time as a teacher there. Right? So there was nothing good that came out of that constituency, but he had made it such a way, right, that, it was difficult, to create any change. And it still remains that way. So, yes, Dwayne is going to win that seat. Not that he deserved to, but he's going to win that seat. Yeah. No, Sian Barneswell down there, it's a close call. Charles Jr. is under pressure, I can tell you that. But he's still holding on. He's still holding on by a slim majority. Yeah, we know that. I don't know who don't know that. A United People's National Party is definitely unbeatable. And the reason why is that we have a bigger base. Wall in St. Catherine. In St. Catherine, Southwest. Wall is picking up some momentum, I can tell you, on the ground. But Wall has a hurdle to get over. Wall has to be able to galvanize the support in the church pen area. That's where Wall need to get out all the vote. And if he could run a campaign that, that people can look at him and say, something, I go vote against Dr. Wall, so I prefer to sit down in my yard. That's called suppressing the vote. If he could run a campaign, a personality campaign where people just don't want to vote against, Liberal don't want to vote against him in church pen, then that would be very, very good for him. Dixon in Clarendon. Dixon in Clarendon. Let me just do a little research on Dixon in Clarendon here. Dixon. Yeah. Yeah. So he's saying that he wants to end the PNP 20-year drought. Clarendon North Central. Well, so he's going to end it. That's Dr. Dixon. Dr. Dixon. Dr. Dixon have an uphill to climb, truth be told. And that could be one of the surprises. If we see the swing that we saw in the local government election towards the PNP, remember now the PNP get the popular vote, right? So there was clearly a swing towards the PNP. Good. So Dixon could be, he's running a good campaign, mind you. He's running a very good campaign. He's running a very good campaign. Yes. East Central St. Catherine. Like I said, East Central is one where the PNP is going to pick up. Raymond Price is going to beat, it's going to be Terry Long. Northeast Manchester. I'm having a little problem with that seat. Yeah, I'm having a little problem with that seat. I don't know if the fact that Audley Shaw wanted that councillor to run that seat will have some effect on the ground with this Audrey Marks lady. But as it is right now, I think that Marx has done, you see, and this is a problem with the labor rights them. They like to give away things. So she go down there with some black tank, and she using it to bribe the voters down there. And I think she has built a little following. I don't know how effective it will be. The polls showing it very close down there. While Win should be further ahead. Excuse me. Win should be further ahead because Win has been, like I said, he has been around a long time. Well, well, Wint is not impressive. He's not an impressive candidate. But we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, the swing could propel him to victory. Oh, well, and that's good. That's good if he gives away a lot. But sometimes, yeah, I was looking at, but sometimes, it's not what you give away, it's your personality. Yeah, it's your personality. Wave Hines down there now. Yeah, Waverly, I'm going to tell you something. Waverly is going to surprise a lot of people. Went after run a good ground game. And like you said, Andre Brown, he has to be able to pull out all the votes in the Christiana division. He have to turn them out. Right? Crystal Lee in St. Anne, in that seat down there, it's a 50-50, It's one of them where we could see a surprise. She could lose that seat. I am not, though, and listen to me carefully, I am not writing her off. As I said in the polling analysis, I am not going to write off Crystal Lee. Not that she's a good, a very good candidate, but when you see close seats, we have to watch. And the rural folks, let me tell you something about rural folks in politics. Some of them, they like handouts. They're accustomed to it, and some of these candidates know it. So they wait until when it's close to election, and then you see they start to give something here, give something there, give some chicken over there, give one water tank over there. You understand me? And then it shifts, even though it is somewhat minuscule, the percentage to which that shifts an election. But it has some effects in a close election. Right? Because say that man you give, because remember saying, there will be micro-targeting, Excuse me. So the one that is going to get that water tank is somebody that have about 10 votes in his house, or him know 10 person where him can call out for vote. The one who is going to get them chicken is who have the 10 votes, or him know him can get 10 votes for them. So they micro-target the persons who they give these goodies to. Right? And then the multiply effect of that is what counts. But like I said, it is minuscule in terms of shifting the votes to any substantial level if there is a swing. It won't help. And this is where at least three of them sentence seat is going to, it's going to be. I tell you something, if Lisa Hanna had just get on the ground and campaign down there and help to campaign, it would be a different story. Yes, it would be a different story, but it is what it is. The PNP is in a very strong position. Like I said, 40 seats to the JLP 23. And it could be a high of 43, depending on how some seats, the sentence seats, pan out, and also some others that we are seeing that are very close to call. But I have the PNP winning this election with 40 seats. All right. And anything less than that, it's still a win. But regardless of how we look at it, the PNP is going to win the election, period. And I know my JLP friends don't want me to say that. But it is what it is, as they would say. right? This is not 2020 when we are affected by COVID. The way the jail, the PNP what was, yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah, 40, it's around there. This is not 2020 when the comrades were so divided, and then COVID bust people shot. So I'm saying, oh, sure, partying already right now, and I mean, I go out into the COVID, I go vote, go risk my life. It's a different kettle of fish now. There's no COVID, and PMP base motivated. When you claim out, okay, yeah, it's a different thing. It's a different PNP base now. There's no COVID. PNP gonna come out to vote. And Labour cannot match PNP when PNP come out to vote. And they know that because this is still a PNP country. It has not changed. And I don't know where the Labourites think that that it has changed. When PNP, and I'll repeat it again on this live, that when PNP is motivated, they can't lose. And this is why Miranda gonna win her seat. This is why Hutchison's seat is going to go to Miss Forrester. She's going to win that for the PNP for the first time. Yes. Right? And that was a break that everybody was waiting on for Hutchison to leave. Because let's face it, if those people down there were really, thinking, outside of the box, they would have voted out Hutchison a long time. Because all that man does is I went down there to do some work one time, and the complaint that I got, no water in the area, and the man, all him do is take over all the people I'm talking, these are the people on the ground talking. And all him do is take over the land and him and him family, and it's all kind of nepotism, So if the people were thinking, they would have voted him out long time, very long time. But Miss Forrester is a very good candidate, and I think she's going to win. Warmington can lose. Yes, he can. It is difficult right now because of the way that he set the constituency. Yeah, it's difficult. Just like the way he set the constituency. Well, yeah, so this is the thing. But like I said, if we look at if Dr. Wall can galvanize a certain level of support out of the churchmen, because out of the church pen division, then he should be on his way to a victory. And he's under pressure right now. No, Julia Holness gone. She's gone. There's no question mark. She is gone. Cuthbert gone. Right? Jamaica want change. Warmington under pressure, and don't be surprised if some people sit down at them yard and decide to them now vote for Warmington. Some Labourites sit down at them yard. Yeah, they're gonna sweep Westmoreland. No, St. James could be 3. Yeah, but again, yes, it's church pen, it's the area. But what he can do, Samuda, I'll come into him. But what he can do, like I said, he has to use his personality in church pen. Yeah. Samuda. Well, what's his name who took over that seat now? You mean you're talking about Matthew Samuda? Or the old Samuda that left the seat to the Deputy General Secretary of the PNP? Matthew, like I said, you know something? Matthew is running a campaign similar to what Shahini Robinson ran. Yeah, he's running a campaign similar to what Shahini Robinson ran. And that could spell dividend for him. Spring Village is where Malawi Fort is strong. Yeah, she's strong in Spring Village. Right. Northeast, well, South Manchester. PNP gone with that. There's no doubt about that. Right? Yeah, South Manchester, the PNP gone with it. Right? Well, you must understand about South Manchester, Manchester Southern. Robert Chin mess up that seat. Right? Robert Chin mess up that seat for the JLP. So they are in crisis down there. Central Kingston, Steve McGregor is going to beat Donovan Williams. But you know which who are going to win? Down at Clarendon there, the former mayor, the former Labourite mayor of Kingston there. He's going to win his seat. Because the lady that we have down there, she's weak. It's a weak candidate. And you have to call a spade a spade. Oh, not St. Catherine gone clear, man. There's no doubt about that. Northeast St. Catherine is PNP being right there. Let me tell you something. The three Portmore seats, there's no doubt Steve McGregor will win. Mike Henry seat is going to stay Labour Party. Yeah. Yes, I agree. Central Clarendon is a JLP territory. We don't have Central Clarendon on our list of wins. We don't see the PNP taking that seat. But we have Southwest. Yeah, McGregor will win. There's no doubt. Yeah, Carla is weak. Carla is a weak candidate, and this is why the former mayor of Kingston there, he know that he get a very weak candidate to run against. This is why I'm down there. Oh, well, we know that the two Omars gonna win in St. Mary. No, only one. The two Omar gonna win down there. You know, both Woodbine and my friend there, can't remember his name. Yeah, but they're gonna win. Southeastern Clarendon. No, we didn't have it on our list. But let me see Southeastern Clarendon here. We didn't have it on our list. Southeastern Clarendon. Clarendon Southeastern. Well, Clarendon Southeastern. Pernell Charles Jr., son of Pernell Charles. He's up. You know what? He's having a stiff competition right now. I start will win. Just for your information. Yeah, Dayton are gonna win big. Undoubtedly, Dayton is gonna win big. Yeah, yeah, I'm saying that Morrison. I am not too. Yes, and you know why they should have put a stronger candidate up against Babsy, is because the even the toy spend area, it's getting very fluid now. Since the death of a certain Dan down there. and what they're thinking about how he died, I think it's getting very fluid. So yes, a stronger candidate would work against her. Floyd Green is gone. You can say bye bye. I am. It's a tough fight. Sion and Charles Jr. there. It's a tough fight. Believe me, it's a tough fight. Right now, it is very close. It's within the margin of error. Yeah, Floyd will lose. That's one of the big surprises that the PNP is gonna push on them. But that seat has a propensity to do that to also, anyone farm the government, that seat always go to. Yeah, Miranda is a strong candidate, there's no doubt. We don't even have to mention Zaluk. I don't see nobody talk about Zaluk as just down there in Northeast. Uh, she's strong too. So tell me then, how is mineralites? How is the mixture in mineralites? Because I get the impression from being on the ground down there that mineralites is mostly labor. Because even when you call down there randomly, made telephone calls down there, you know, the sentiment you get out of there is that is a laborite. Yeah. Oh, Rhoda Crawford gone. Donovan Mitchell. Oh, she's gone. You didn't expect Rhoda to win again. Rhoda only win because of circumstances. Rhoda only win the PNP. But you see, anybody who think that the PNP won't take back all the seats that they lost in 2020, they are delusional. Believe you me. So what is always mineralites? I think it's a more mix here about more laborite. That's what I'm getting out of there, even when we make calls down there. Well, yeah, and side chicks never generally win. Eh? Oh, Damian Crawford is gonna win. No man, that man can't beat Damian Crawford. Not even in his dream. He's not ready for Crawford yet. You see, the thing about that seat, that seat just wanted back a good representative. After Bobby Pickersgill got, hold and so on, and then the guy who Graham took over and didn't do nothing at all. He just posed around, and this is the problem with the PNP. You have to really pay attention to the the candidates that when they win the election tomorrow. The PNP must have a code that these candidates must service the constituencies. They must meet with the voters. They must have regular town hall meetings with voters and hear their cry, hear their complaints, and try to fix it. Right? It must be that level of campaign. Campaign should not stop. And campaign work by you working for the people. This is how you campaign. So we have to change the old mantra that exists right now, where election time is when you see some people run up in our place and decide that they're going to win. So Andrew Brown, tell me about Canaanites in Central Clarendon. What do you think about that area? Yeah, we have to hold them their feet to the fire, man. We need some high standards now. The thing changed now, We cannot allow Jamaica to disintegrate. Right? The thing changed. We have to hold them to very high standards. And they must service the people who vote for them. This is about service. You understand me? Yeah, Tufton could lose West Central if he had a stronger candidate also. I didn't even mention him. He's going around as cocky as he is, thinking that he is God's gift to earth. That's how he's behaving, and he has this you can know, you can know a person just by his utterances. When Bunting slammed him at the debate about when Bunting called him out on them lie, His response was that, be careful you made innuendos. You see, this is what they do all the time. When the truth hit them, they call it innuendos. Like PMP territory. Okay. So you just had to pull out all the votes there in Canaanites. Yeah, well, no doubt. So Manchester is the PNP gone with it. Very much so. Yeah, he's a narcissist. And this is my problem. He is. Yeah, it's a traditional, but look, there was a lady named I think her name was Baker, who won that seat, for the PNP one time, but she only did one term. But it's not like said and it's Bosch she had but beaten too. All right, so St. Catherine Northeast. That's one way you're interested in, eh? All right, make we give you some stats where that is concerned. St. Catherine Northeast. We the PMP is gonna win it. PMP is gonna win St. Catherine Northeast. Ah, there's no doubt about it. I was looking at some stats here. Hmm. Yes. Look, all right. So we could talk a little about now St. Catherine Northeast because that's a crucial seat for sure. All right. Here why I think the PNP will win. And Andreen Higgins need to understand how to win that seat. It is critical. And anybody who is on this live that knows Andreen well, Andreen, here how you're going to win that seat. Andreen has to win that seat from about 2 o'clock, which means that she have to go up on the ground early. Her ground game has to be up to par, right? So Andreen Higgins has to get on the ground early, and she has to pull out all her voters, them from early, and make them go vote. Because that seat also, falls into the category of handout too, The people don't like handout. If you ever lose. So if she can pull out her support base early, because I went up to I saw a motorcade up there with Mark Golding. I covered the motorcade up there with Mark Golding, and I saw the kind of crowd I saw. I did not see that crowd during 2020 when Oswald Smith was running for the PNP. Right. So Marlon Brown, you would think then that the best way to win that seat, because right now it is close. It's within the margin of error. So the best way to win that seat is that Andreen has to pull out all her voters before 2 o'clock. Because you see, at 2 o'clock, when them check off them thing, and my man down there own True Juice, he's going to come into the area, because I'm already telling film workers them say them not supposed to vote for PNP, Right? So, yes, I agree, PNP, Andreen are going to win, but let me tell you what Andreen will face. Andreen will face the big money dropping into the area from the McConnell them. She will have to go up against that, and that start run about from 2 o'clock to close of polling. This is when they pay people to go out and vote. So she have to counter that by having her supporters, Marlon Brown, out there early and have them vote early. So in other words, she need to wrap up that election early, right? She need to wrap up that election early. Yeah, get out the votes. Get out the votes. Stacey Knight. Stacey Knight. So Stacey is running now in yes, Stacey. Yeah, that's Kitty's daughter. Very good candidate. Very good candidate. Stacey is a very good candidate. But you what up now? Stacey come at a time when the constituency not ready for a realness yet, to put it that way. The constituency is not at that level where Stacey is right now. Not that they're not going to get there, you know. Yeah, Andrew seat shaky. We know that. In fact, a friend of mine told me, a big laborite too, he told me that the other day they were thinking that based on how the Andrew seat is so close, that they might want to remove him down to Kingston West. But Desmond McKenzie said, he can't give up his seat. Him already at him a one more term. Right? So yeah, it's shaky. Yes, and I agree. I agree because I have seen the performance, you know, and the way she thinks that government resources belong to her, and she can choose who she give it to and who not to give it to in Northeast St. Catherine. So clearly, and these are some of the things that we have to get rid of out of the politics. Some of these vindictive politicians, and we have them. Yeah, we have some of them in the PNP too. But I hope Mark Golding can deal with it and deal with it in a way, so that Jamaica can be a beautiful country. But as it is now, guys, open your eyes tomorrow. Open your eyes because a lot of hanky panky. A lot of hanky panky. Paul Buchanan at work. He's working. I know he's working. And he looks good. He looks good. He's running a hell of a campaign down there against him, against Andrew Holness. You mean that lady Marks not fit for the constituency? Well, she seemed to be privileged, that's why she get the position. So let's face it. I guess when you're close to the leader of a party, you will always get the nod, right? Yeah. Yes, he did defeat him. Yeah, John, we see Potmore strong. But Potmore also have to get out in vote, especially those in the Larimer's area. I'm have to get them out fast. Yeah, I really think Northeast St. Catherine is going to turn. I have it down as a winning seat here. I have it down as a winning seat. It's on my list of one where the PNP is going to win. So let me see how that one pan out. Let me see how it pan out. But the PNP is very strong, and there's no doubt about it. You see, one of the things is, and I tell you something about East Central St. James. East Central St. James is Ed Bartlett seemed to think that he can wait until when it's close to an election and then he go around with some goodies and he treats the people, excuse me, and he expect them to go out and vote for him. And Andreen understand it. Remember, Sophia, her father used to drive the truck, carry the market people, so she understand the needs of the farmers up there. And she know the kind of help that they need. And she won't be in there as an imposter. Yes. Oh yeah, 550,000 popular vote. No, I had it down. I had it down as 585,000 popular vote for the PNP. Yes, he always pulls through. Yes, and like I said, he pulls through. Bartlett pulls through because he spent money to buy votes. Right? He spent money to buy votes. So he pulled through. Like I said, there are roads now right in the constituency where just last week them fixed them. And they were there for years. Yeah, we talked about Dr. Wall earlier, and we are saying that in the Church Pen area, he needs to galvanize all the support he can get in the Church Pen area. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Early. Well, I want to hear that one early. Oh, man, Philip's safe, man. Philip's safe. Philip's safe. All he needs to do is get out and vote and we'll vote early. Michael is safe. Olaba Bay, it mixed now, it turned bad. It turned a PNP Olaba Bay, I say. Right now. Right. So you're looking then at, if you sit at 235 additional votes, you're looking at over 500 something, close to 600,000. Oh, the JLP winning 53? Wow. That's ambitious. Well, brother, you might have seen something that we don't see. Oh, North East St. Elizabeth, that's Zeluka. Zeluka will win that. She will defeat Slowly, even though Slowly is a juggernaut, and a good man. I interviewed him already, and I know the kind of person he is. But you see, we should not underestimate a unified PNP base and how they vote during elections when they are unified. We don't, and I think that's where a lot of Jamaica Labour Party supporters is missing the mark and missing the point. That the PNP has a base that is loyal. And when they are united, they don't lose elections. They just don't. Like I said, we have seen it with Patterson too. So yes, we are going to wrap up our live. And like I said, just to summarize, the PNP will win 40 seats and possibly 43, depending on the outcome of some marginal seats. And the JLP will have 23 seats or 20, depending on the outcome of some marginal seats. Well, That was Damien's word. One by one, they're going to jail. We'll see. I think Mark Gold. Yeah, no. They're estimated PNP populism at their peril. You know, if they want to, they do it at their peril. Wow, what is that? 2 million? That is interesting. Somebody's betting 2 million. You're welcome, sir. See ya. Oh, Wickham is going to win. And continue to follow Michelle Johnson. And Mr. Brown, continue. We'll be putting some good stuff out there. We'll be putting some good stuff out there. We'll be following the politics. And we expect our leaders to fulfill. When the PNP win this election, we expect them to fulfill. We don't want Damien just go on the stage and say one by one they're going to jail. No, we want to see them go to jail. You can't thief up the country, the hard-earned taxpayer money and them get rich. Most of them get rich with it. And then they expect just to just, I don't support that. I really, and I will say this, I'll put myself out there by saying that I don't support politicians who thief taxpayers' money. I don't like it, I detest it, and they need to stop, right? And the only way we can put a stop to this is by sending some of them to jail. By parish, all right. So here we go. Seat count by parish. In Kingston, we have 2, Central Kingston and Port Royal. In St. Andrew, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 in St. Andrew. In St. Thomas, we have 2. In Portland, we have 1. In St. Mary, we have 3. I'm talking PNP seats. In St. Anne, we have 1. We're looking at 1, and like I said, it could be more, but I am being very conservative. By midday tomorrow, I will see where the swing is because I'll be on the road. In Trelawny South, Trelawny North, we have those 2 in Trelawny. In St. James, I say we will pick up 2, but I also think that St. James Central is going to swing to the PNP, Janice Allen. So I'm looking at 3. In Hanover, Bartlett is on the line right now. In Hanover, Eastern and Western, we have 2 there. In Westmoreland, all 3. In St. Elizabeth, 1, 2, 3, 4. In St. Elizabeth, I see 4. In Manchester, I see 3 seats. In Clarendon, we have 3. And in St. Catherine, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 in St. Catherine. Yeah, Wint has to bring out, like somebody says, he has to bring out a stronghold. He has to get them out there early. Folks, thank you for joining me on this live. I think we had a very good time. And I'm going to wrap up now. And I just invite everyone to go out and exercise your franchise tomorrow, because this is very, very significant. This election is very, very significant. It is, because we cannot allow the country to be plunged into, a state of skullduggery, money laundering, taxpayers' money being pocketed, and no Jamaican should even be thinking along that line that you're going to support anybody that is taking taxpayers' money. And how can I feel as a Jamaican sitting back and feel comfortable that a Cornwall Regional Hospital that started out at $2 billion is now 20-something billion dollars and it's still not finished? How could I feel? And what can you tell me? And they try to mesmerize. They try to tell you to believe your lying eyes. No. Don't come at me like that. I'm not stupid. Something is wrong. Where the money gone? In somebody's pocket. So I will not support no political party in this country that I see some of their ministers has a propensity to steal taxpayers' money and they are not being called to book for it. I will not. And if Mark Golding win tomorrow morning, mark my word, and him starting foolishness, cover story will expose him. Because I'm about Jamaica and the development of this country. And Mark has promised that he's going to seek to develop this country in a better way than how it is being developed now. And in my view, and I'll say this, I think that the Jamaican voters is going to give Marky G a chance tomorrow. Have a great night, folks. Bye-bye. We'll catch you in our next polling and election and the day after election. In our next podcast and the day after election. We'll catch you then. Where we can we'll do a live then where we can just discuss the aftermath of the election and then we can break it down and analyze it and so on. Okay? So this is the first live. We're going to open up cover story. We're looking forward how we plan to do cover stories that we're going to open it up in such a way that people can call in and express themselves. Right? That's where we are going with cover story because cover story is here to stay and we want to make it the voice of the people. Right? Regardless of what party you support, it doesn't matter. You come on and express yourself. Right? If you don't think that something is right, you say it. And if you're supporting your party, you're free to come on. And that's where we go with cover story. It's going to be a voice of the people. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great night. Oh, yeah.
How was it?
It was great.
You have a lot of this.
Oh, yes, there's a lot of people on.
How many?
A lot.
A lot?
Yes,
What do you mean by a lot?
a lot. Start a poll.
I had to go upstairs for a little bit, but I know you didn't focus the camera. So
No,
I know it was okay, right?
sure was.
You didn't see me walking in the background. I tried to hide.
No, I didn't see you.
You saw me?
No, I didn't.
Thank God, I think.
I didn't see you,
The
baby.
dogs were barking.
Yeah, they were on.
Yeah.
So how you do?
Very good.
My sexy wife. Look at you. Mm. So aren't you my sexy wife? Mm. Yeah, long time come here too. You're born in a comrade home, you know. Yeah.